day, viewers. Welcome back to the Preaching Humanist with David Oliverio. That is I. I want to discuss Christian evolution. Here we are in the year 2020. American Christianity is slowly on the decline. People are leaving the faith. That makes me happy. But there's also many of these people that continue to hold on to this God concept in this religion of Christianity that are slowly evolving, right? They have to keep up with modernity and modern times. They're no longer taking the Bible literally like many of the fundamentalists continue to do. So this is an encouraging message for my fellow secular humanists out there. So let's discuss this thing called evolution of Christianity. Not long ago, out on a Saturday morning with signs, I had two women approach me with their small children. They came up to my signs, and this was at the state capitol here in Austin. I thought they were fellow atheists by the way they talked and by their acknowledgement and approval of the signs that I had, such as separation of church and state, even my humanist sign. So I thought for sure they were fellow secular people. Well, actually, they told me they were Christians. That was a surprise. But it wasn't such a surprise once I asked them where they were on that Christian spectrum. I made a major assumption, and I was right. And I said, you ladies are obviously liberal, progressive Christians. We talked for 5 or 10 minutes, and they told me their stories on how they were once very, very evangelical. They began to read more and evolve away from the harshness of literal fundamentalist Christianity. So I think that's a very good thing. Now, we have a lot in common with progressive liberal Christians, and I want to discuss that today. They are masters. They, the Christian left, the progressive and liberal Christians, are masters at the art of cherry picking. Most of us understand the concept of cherry picking, right? They take those sweet, flavorful, wonderful scriptures out of the Bible. The Good Samaritan policy, right, which we agree with because it's just human. Clothing the naked. The scripture in the Gospel of Matthew that Jesus allegedly said about, hey, when I was naked, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was homeless, you took me in. When I was a stranger, you took me in. Caring for the needy, caring for the widows and the orphans in their affliction. Kindness, empathy and sympathy, all the things that we share with believers of all religions and non-religions because we're all human. These people that are on the extreme left of Christianity agree with us on a lot of things. But here's the thing, folks. The extreme left Christians, they keep cherry picking. But one day and soon, now, this is no prophecy like I used to do as a Pentecostal preacher. This is what I see with my experience out there with believers. They're going to run out of cherries pretty soon. There's not many cherries left in that cherry bush called the Bible. What they will be left with is a bush full of thorns and thistles. And you know what I'm talking about. The thorns and thistles in that Bible bush, after all those cherries are picked, are the harshness of the scriptures of the Old and even the New Testament, right? The harshness of hell, the belief in punishment, the retribution and payback of this God toward those that do not believe. The depraved blank slate of human nature that Christianity teaches. The hatred of LGBT and people that are gay and all the scriptures that progressive and liberal Christians have evolved into. They know the stuff in the Old and many parts of the New Testament are outdated, immoral, and they're becoming more and more like we that are secular. They agree with us in many ways. Now, my whole way of talking to the Christian left has changed through the years. When I was a younger activist, just a few years ago, I would argue with them. Why are you still holding on to Christianity? You, Mr. or Miss Progressive Christian and Liberal Christian, are given a covering to those that we agree are dangerous. the religious right. Now my technique has changed with them. I literally thank them for looking at the cherries, using the cherries and not paying attention to all the bad in the Bible. Because one day, many of these people will let go finally and take that final step toward pure secularism, like those of us who have done this. We have let it go. One day they will see that they don't really need the Bible. They can take that Jesus cross off their progressive Christian church. They don't have to get on their knees and pray anymore and use the Bible as ethics and morals, because all the good stuff in there, the cherries, it's simply humanity. They're getting there. My technique, and I want to encourage us to thank them for that and to encourage them to continue to read and study. Now, let me tell you this. We are in the process of building secular communities, which you know I really like. And we must be ready to house and to receive these people that continue to change and evolve and to keep up with modern times, because they can't hold on to that stuff in the Bible anymore. We must be prepared. We must be ready to house them. And they are looking for something that resembles their church. They're looking for something that they can join, that has shared ethics and values. And the good stuff, as I talk about all the time on my show, and also when I'm talking to others on the weekends, I promote these secular groups here in Austin, in Houston, wherever I can, that push for the good. And that good is simply the same things that progressive and liberal Christians push for. We must have a community and build these communities that promote these ethics and values. That sounds almost churchy. And in fact, I've got some episodes coming up about adolescent atheism. There are those out there that haven't matured and grown out of that stage. And once we find out that we have shared values and ethics with progressive and liberal Christians, we can encourage them along, because all they need is one more step and they can let it all go. And even if they don't, they are allies in many ways. So let's continue to promote what we know is fact, what we know, promoting science and reason, and letting these people know that it is okay. They're on a journey. We all were on a journey. I was once on a journey. I didn't have a computer back in the 70s and 80s. It was myself and I, alone with my books and my thoughts. I came to that realization there wasn't anything supernatural. But back then in the day, I didn't have anything that resembled what I came out of. And secular humanist communities can be that stepping stone, that transitional stone for those that are leaving. But we must keep open. We must talk to people. We must let them know that we have shared values and virtues, because they are changing and they are evolving. All right, remember to keep the light of secular humanism shining. Have a wonderful day.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
No, you're done.